Hi and very welcome to my first video, Electronic Reporting from Scratch, importing a text file. This video will consist on a step-by-step of how to configure everything from scratch to import a text file, or two text files, into the F&O tables without writing a line of code. But the main objective is not to import the data itself, but to learn more about electronic reporting and having an overview of the whole process from getting the file to inserting into the F&O tables. This is the goal of the video, to know more, and the importance of it is because electronic reporting is a widely used tool by Microsoft in F&O. And so you will have to probably modify some existing out-of-the-box electronic reporting, or even you could also create your own to achieve importing or exporting processes. So join me in this exciting how-to exercise, and I hope you enjoy this video as much as I enjoy it recording and editing it. Thank you and Merry Christmas. Let's say we don't have anything about electronic reporting. The first thing we need to go first to electronic reporting. I'm already there, but it's going here, and you will have to create a configuration provider if there's no any other than Microsoft created, and put it as active. So once you have a configuration provider and it is active, we can go to reporting configurations and be able to create our model. So going back to this image, we will use a model that's like the data contract with the information, the critical information that we want to insert into our tables. In that case, because we are using it for importing, but it can be used also for exporting. I think I am going to record a separate video for that, and the flow would be in the opposite direction. So the format will be our object, our electronic reporting object, that will parse the input file, in that case the text file. This format, after passing it, will populate our data model, that I will probably call it data contract many times in this video, and this data contract will be the one that directly insert the data into our tables. So the first thing we are going to do is create our data model, or our model, and after that we will create the format and map the format with the model and test it. Once we have it tested, we'll create the model mapping between the data model that was populated by the format and the actual F&O tables. For doing that, I've created two very simple tables. It's header and line. Okay, we have header with two fields and line with two more fields and the relation with the header. They are empty, as we can see here, and what we are going to do is start with it. So from here, from electronic reporting form, we're going to create our model. Our model, for example, as it is a text file, we're going to call it, for example, text import model. And our objective, or our target for this configuration and for all this video, is to be able to import those two files. They have different formats, so we are going to have to do first one format and after that the other format, but we will reuse the same model and the same model mapping. So first of all, I want to clarify or to note a few keys of those text formats. Here we have the fields delimited by semicolon, and here they are not delimited at all, but the position they occupy or the length of each one of the fields is the criteria we are going to in what we are going to base our delimitation. So for example, here we will get, that would be the ID of the header, and that would be the name of the header. So we have to make our format think, or to make our format get. The 2 first characters will be the ID, the 8 following characters will be the header name, blah blah blah. So let's go. Let's create the model. So the model, in the model, what I am going to put is only the information we need. So we need to insert. Basically, we need to insert the information here. So what I am going to do is I am going to go simple at the first for the model and create only like a list of records with 4 fields. And how do we do that? The first thing is create the model root. You can call it model, for example, add. After that, we create a record list, because of course we are going to have more than one record. We are going to have, in that case, 5. So that will be tilde of an active node, because it's going to be under the model root. This will be a record list, for example. Yeah, you can see my creativity is limited. Okay. String for this, because even though this is a number, it is also the ID, so it's a string. Header ID. As you can see, this part is quite simple. Header name. Note that I am putting the child of an active node, because when I click new, my cursor is here, but if I put the cursor here, I could also use the sibling of an active node and the result would be the same. I don't know what I'm creating ready. Yeah. So the next one is the line name. Line name. Note that we are not splitting in our model between header and lines, but we will do after that into the model mapping. I decided to go with a simple model, more or less based on the text, but it doesn't have to be like that. But I decided to do it like that, and we will do a group or a grouping of all the headers into the model mapping. Like here is where we are going to split, like to group the headers and split the multiplicity of headers and line. But yeah, that was me spoiling the whole video. And go for integer, and that it's filled in, for example, or I don't like that name, we can change it here, line int, for example. Okay. We see, or we can see that it orders alphabetically the different fields, but it doesn't matter, because this is like an empty, or yeah, this is an structure without data, and we are going to fulfill it after that, and we are going to consume it. So it doesn't matter the order, because the order is only important in the format that it's going to receive the format, and it's going to parse the information with a specified format of our file. So In that case, yeah, we've done with the, basically, we've done with our model. It was really simple, as you can see. Let's complete it, and once it is completed, now we can create objects based on that model. That an object is based on a model, it means that the object will use that model. It's not that it's inheriting the model and adding more functionality. No, it's only that if I create a format, this format will be mapped with that model. And yeah, in the model mapping, it's for mapping model and the tables directly, or in case of importing, and model versus the format of the file in case of exporting. But we will go through it in further detail. So yeah, the format, we can call it text import format, and it's going to be a text because we decided to do it like that. We can say because that was the requirement, but I created the requirement, so it was my decision. And here this is important because if I don't select, if I don't mark this checkbox, basically it will expect me to put a data model and a data definition, because it's going to go the opposite direction. It's going to go from the tables and export to a file. But if we put suppose data import, that means not only that supports data import, but that it's going to work with data import. It's going to go the import way, basically. Yeah, I don't know if supports data import. It's a well name here, a well chosen name, because it's like it is data import, but yeah, or it is made for data import. Yeah, so we have this format, and now this is quite a little less intuitive than the model, but basically what we are going to do is here we create a file, because this is the format, this is the first step that our incoming document it's going to go through. So the incoming document, it's going to be parsed by the format. So it is this format expects to receive a file, and no more setup is needed here, I think. And this file, we are going to use the sequences to work with the file, because this sequence would be like the text. So we recover the text from the file, okay? And basically this text would be this. But now we need to split this whole text into single or into many lines. Like we have here 5 lines. We could have n lines, we don't care. So we create another sequence. So the sequence, as long as I understood, they are useful to delimit or to split or get the information from the file, okay? So in this case, we get all the text and we create a new sequence that we can call it lines, for example. And we put here in the sequence elements delimiter the new line. With that, what we are going to do is split this into 5 lines. So each one of those lines, we are going to get them also with a sequence. Record, and there's an important thing, that it's that these lines are or have a multiplicity different than the 1 to 1. So we need to specify that here. In our case, we are going to put one too many because we expect the file to have at least one line. If not, it wouldn't make sense to import anything. And if you didn't check this, the show details, I recommend you to check it because it says what the root is, what the object it is, what object it is, and also the multiplicity and other information that it's useful. So in summary, we have a file, we get the text from the file, we split it, and we split it in n lines, and we get each one of those lines. Once we get each one of those lines, we need to parse the separate line into the fields. So we are going to create four string fields they are going to be header name, and this is the key of this kind of files with no delimiter and with a specified length for each field that needs to be set in the maximum length, because this sequence has a length of all of this. That's 19 columns, I think, or 18, because the selection is 18. So basically we are going to get the first two. And how do we do that? We create a field, and the field is going to get the characters from left to right. So if we say that for this field the maximum length is 2, it's going to get the first two. Basically, it's that simple. And yeah, that would be the header ID. Oh, I did it wrongly, but we can change it here easily. Header ID. Yeah. Okay. And now note that it saved the last object you created. It's saved here. So as we are going to create a string, we can reuse it. It's a strange user interface, but well, we can say this is not very, I don't know, very intuitive in general, working with the electronic reporting, but we have to assume it's powerful at least. And yeah, selection 8, that would be 8, because the header name we expect it to be with a length of 8. The next thing is the line string, that is 6. Okay, line string 6, and the last one is an integer because it's defined like that in the table. So we have to add a numeric, and be careful, because here if you don't specify the type, it's going to, like, the three main data types for numbers are the three of them are considered as numeric, but with different numeric type. So you have to specify the property here, and it's line num, and that would be it. Well, I should put a 2 here because this is a length of 2, but if I don't put anything here, it would work anyway, because that's the end of the line, so we will get whatever is left in the line. But yeah, let's put the 2, and yeah, that would be it for our format. But this format is not doing anything. How do we do that the format does, or that the format communicates with the model well, with the format mapping? And how do we do that? With that map format to model. So we can create This is going to get the data model that it's used for this format. The definition, yeah, because we can have a model with different definition and things like that. And let's go for the designer, and now we can bind the different information that we have extracted from our file in the format with our data contract that we've created before, and that and that we are going to use in the next step to populate directly the F&O tables. So the record list, we have to bind it with our lines. Like, remember, this is the format, it received the file, the text would be all the basically the whole document text, and the lines are, like, for example, in our case, there will be 5 of them. So that in the record list, you have to bind to something with the multiplicity that you expect. So in that case, as we expect 5 lines, binding it with the lines with this will work perfectly. And once we've done that, we go through every single field and bind it with the extracted info. In our case, it's directly. In our case, it's direct because we did it like that, but it doesn't have to be like that. And yes, once we've done that, note also that here I am binding directly, but if I click edit, we can do things with our data. We can even put some logic here, similar to like Power Effects, I think, or it's something like that, but it's inner and it's a little strange. But as you have the functions here, you more or less can navigate through them and get what you need done. At least many times you can. And this at sign means that this is basically the parent node. In that case, it's format file text line, so this is binded with format file text lines record, because the at sign means all of this, plus record and header ID. So once we've done that, we go to this, and basically now we've done this until this. We're in this step, so we can test what we've done until now, running it, and this is going to ask us for a file. We're going to send this file, because remember we were in the case of fixed length of the fields. And once we click open and OK, this is going to do this flow, parsing format. The format is going to populate the data model, and the data model populated is what we are going to receive from this process. It's going to be downloaded here automatically, and here it is the data model fulfilled. We can see that it's working fine. Like, this is exactly the same. Like, we have the header ID is 1, the header name is header 1, the integer is the integer is 1 because of that. And the line name would be line 01, and the same with the different header, the different lines. So it's working fine. All our sequences and all our delimiters and everything is working fine. So now we can go to the next step, that would be to map directly the model, that it's this, once it's fulfilled, our data contract, I would say, with our actual F&O tables. How do we do that? There are different possibilities to do that, but well, first, once we know our format is working fine, we complete it, okay? And we can do the mapping in a new, as I think I mentioned it before, using a new electronic reporting object, or I don't know how to call it. Yeah, object. But we don't have to do it like that. I think this is more powerful, and the standard uses it or does it like that many times, because I assumed it is because it needs to use the same model with different formats, and the different and the model can populate different, for example, different tables. So how is the easy way to do it? And it's good you know both of them, okay? But the way we are going to do it, like the way we are going to do it in this demo, is through the designer. In the model, you can do this, map model to data source, and this, as we only have created one format, this is going to use the format that we've created for this model. If not, I think we would have to set as default for model mapping. If we have more than one format, we have to set the format as default for model mapping. But in that case, we don't need to, because we have only one format. So map model to data source and create it. Now, important here, the direction. What is the direction? Well, if you are exporting, the direction is to model, because you go from the tables to the model. And after that, you will go from the model to the format, and the format will paint your file. You will write your file as you wish. But when you are importing, the flow goes from your model or data contract to the F&O tables, so to destination. And that would be map model to destination, for example. Save, and let's go to the designer. Now we have everything empty. That's fine. We are good. You didn't do anything wrong. It starts like that, but you have to add here. You have to select what you want to add and add root or add, and it will be added to the data sources. And here, what we have is that in the data sources, we are going to don't forget the direction of this. We are going from the model to the tables. So here the data source would be the model, because it's the data source of our insertion, and it's model. So we create a data model here that it's going to use basically the model that we've fulfilled here. It's going to use this. Okay. And yeah, we can see that we have all the information. And now we create the destination. So in the destination, we choose directly the AX table we want to use. We can also use data entities. And if there's a new table that you want to choose here, you're probably not going to see it the first time. So you have to click on refill table. But I did it before. It takes a while, like 1 minute or something like that, it depends. But I already did it, so I don't have to do it again. Our tables are header and line. So basically we choose the table, we are going to insert So yeah, and we create lines there too. FTD. It doesn't filter. Okay, no problem. Line table, yeah, and here lines. Nice. Okay, and here we could bind them directly, but we have to take into consideration that our data contract is going to receive this information. So we are going to have header 1, header 1 again, header 2, header 1 again, and header 2 again. So if we bind them directly, we are going to try to insert the header 1 3 times, and the header 2 2 times. It's going to fail miserably. So we need to do a little of data processing here that consists in a group by. But the lines are one-to-one from our model to our destination, so we can, without fear, bind them directly. Like we are going to have 5 lines, so we bind them with our record list. The record list would be this record list, and it has item 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I mean that means 5 items, and we bind each one of the fields separately. It was yeah, the header ID, because we want to keep the relation with our header table. Header name, no, we are not saving that into the lines. Integer and string. Note that you cannot bind with this or this. Imagine we have here, or that the table fields are real. What we could do is, even when we cannot bind, we can click edit and do here a cast between casting the integer into a real data type. That would be it for the lines. And in fact, let's try one thing. If I validate, it's going to say, hey, the header is not bound, so nothing is going to happen with the header. But we can run it and check at least if the lines are going to be imported. Okay, operation completed, no error. That's a very good sign, because I was afraid of the demo effect, but I was lucky this time. And you can see that the lines are created. So that's nice. We are going to delete them because we don't want to have duplicates here, and I am not creating a new file for these tests. So what we are going to do now is to do a group by, to be able to get the headers without duplicates and without having a duplicate key exception or whatever. And we can add root, because we don't care what the group by is, because we are going to say in what node it's going to be based. So let's GB, because I'm lazy right now. So here we have group by and aggregations, and what to group. What we are going to use now, not aggregations, because we don't have to calculate anything, any count or sum, but it's good to know we can do it. So the first thing is what to group. We are going to group our lines, basically. So the record list. And note that, for example, if I click the model, it doesn't allow me, because you need to they need to be like compatible nodes. Record list is compatible with go to group because it's a list of records, so we can do queries or we can do things with them. What to group, model record list. So, and for what fields are we going to group? For those two. So group fields and group fields. And we could, for example, do that and calculate the average of those, but it makes no sense in this in this example, but it's no, you know, you can do it. That would be it for our group. Okay, and magically a group is created. So we have this is a group. Now for this group I expect only to have a multiplicity of 2 for this example, or 2, n being n, the number of different headers. So we can bind it to the header record list and use the header ID and the header name to bind them directly the fields. Header ID would be this, and header name would be I think name. Yeah, probably. I don't remember how I called them. ID and name, yeah. So once we've done that, I think we are good and everything should work fine at the very first try. Run. Okay. Oh my god, that's wonderful, no errors. And let's see. Yeah, so everything was imported correctly. Now what happens if I try to import the other file, the one that it's made out of fields delimited with semicolons? Error. And let's see together how wonderful, descriptive and self-explanatory the errors of the electronic reporting are, and note the sarcasm here, because you don't know what to say. Yeah, it's not clear. No, it's not clean at all. So basically the error is given because it expects us to have to be to get the very first 2 elements here. It's where, oh, I think I close it. Yeah, the very first 2 elements are supposed to be the ID. That's good, but after that it expects to get the next elements, blah 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 blah. And when it arrives to the position number 17, yeah, the position number 17, it expects to receive an integer, but here the position number 17, it's not an integer. Well, it's just expected that it will fail because our format was not thought to receive a file like that. Let's update our format to receive a file like that. We can go here, designer, blah 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 blah, and what we need to do is here in the record we can delimiter our fields by the semicolon, so there's no, makes no sense anymore to have the maximum length here. So now the delimiter, it's going to be the semicolon, and note that I've chosen this example in purpose. Like we can see that the different line names have different lengths, and so we ensure that the position and the length, the fixed length of our file is not giving us a false positive in terms of testing the semicolon delimiter. So yep, we go here, save, we can run this. This shouldn't be changed at all, only with changing the format, because the information is the same, only change the format. If I run this with the new one, it should get exactly the same. Yeah, and yeah, it's getting those blank space. It seems to be working fine. So yes, I think those spaces should be 2, but as this is showing as an XML, it doesn't show, but yeah, definitely the new format is working. So let's do now the import. We have to delete the existing data. Let's check it is completely empty, and let's go. Remember, it was here in the designer, map model to data source. Sorry, it's in the draft version. Map model to data source here, and we can run this, and it will run the full or the whole process. Let's do it. Okay, operation complete, and here you are, the 2 spaces here, no spaces there, and all the information imported correctly. So basically that's it. That was it. Many thanks. I know this is a very simple example, but I thought it was the best in terms of didactic reasons, like in terms of didactic purpose, and I hope you enjoyed it, and it will be useful for you, and at least to make you an idea of what the electronic reporting is. So I'll be back with different examples of, for example, exporting to and I don't know if other formats like Excel or things like that. Just I'll wait to know if you like this electronic reporting related content. So many thanks and Merry Christmas. I am recording it close to Christmas, so yeah, let's Santa's little helper help you with your electronic reporting. Thanks for your attention. Goodbye.